One day, you'll wish you had started today. Not because your life is terrible now, but because you finally realize time doesn't wait. There are no perfect conditions, no ideal version of later. There is only now. And in 10 years, the only question that will matter is this. Did you show up for yourself when it counted, or did you scroll past another year of your life? This isn't just another new year, new me story. This is about taking 1 year, just one, and making it the most meaningful, intentional, and transformative chapter of your life. So let me tell you a story. Meet Chris. He's 27, living in Dallas, works a remote job, decent pay, has a gym membership he never uses, and a vision board he hasn't looked at since January 1st last year. Chris is all of us, stuck in that strange space between knowing we want more and doing nothing to get it. It was January 1st, 2025, but it didn't feel like a new beginning. Chris lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, the same way he had on December 31st and the December before that. His room was quiet, except for the low hum of a space heater and the echo of someone else's life playing on YouTube in the background. A vlog titled How I Made $100,000 in 2024. He wasn't jealous. He was just numb. Like so many others, Chris started every new year with hope. But that hope had become heavy. The kind of heavy you feel when you've made too many promises to yourself that you never kept. He had a list somewhere, a long one, filled with resolutions from last year. Wake up at 5 a.m. Or launch the online business. Or lose 20 pounds. Or start journaling. Meditate. He did some of them, for a week or two. But life got busy. And before he knew it, March became June. June became October. And now, here he was, another new year. Same habits, same version of himself. Sound familiar? Chris was stuck in a loop that so many Americans know too well. Chronic consumption, low energy, high distraction, and deep internal guilt. Not depression, not laziness, just a life out of alignment. A slow, quiet erosion of self-trust. His days blurred together. Morning coffee, remote work, passive scrolling, late-night TikTok rabbit holes, sleep, repeat. He wasn't miserable, but he wasn't alive either. And that's the danger zone, when life doesn't hurt enough to change, but it doesn't inspire enough to grow. Then something happened. On January 4th, his best friend from college, Marcus, posted a photo on LinkedIn, grateful to have accepted the VP role at a startup I love. Let's make 2025 count. Chris stayed at the screen. He wasn't envious of the job. He didn't want to be a VP. He just hated how far from that level of clarity and confidence he felt in his own life. Marcus had direction, momentum. Chris had comfort, a soft trap disguised as freedom. And that moment, small but piercing, lit something inside him. It wasn't rage. It wasn't jealousy. It was grief. Grief for the version of himself he swore he'd become, but never met. That night, he sat alone on his couch. The room was dark, TV off, phone face down. He whispered words no one else heard. I don't want to live another year like this. Not because his life was a disaster, but because it was too quiet, too passive, too accidental. He realized that nothing was going to save him. No planner, no YouTube video, no perfect Monday morning. The only thing standing between where he was and who he wanted to be was choice. And for the first time in a long time, Chris stopped blaming time. He stopped saying, when I have more energy, I'll start. Because here's the truth. Energy doesn't come before action. It comes after. That was trigger point number one. The moment he understood that waiting for motivation was the biggest lie he'd believed. He didn't need motivation. He needed motion. Any motion. So he made a rule. One small win a day. Nothing big. Just one thing he could control. He didn't tell anyone. He didn't post about it. He didn't change his life in one epic Sunday overhaul. He just made a choice. This year doesn't have to be perfect, but it can be different. And that's when things began to shift, not with fireworks, but with awareness. Because real change never starts when life looks good. It begins when you're brutally honest about how far you've drifted and how badly you want to come home to yourself. Chris wasn't a loser. He wasn't lazy. He was just disconnected from his identity, his goals, and his power. But something had woken up, and even if it was just a flicker of fire, it was enough to start. 2025 didn't need to be perfect, but it was going to be real. Change doesn't feel like fire. It feels like friction, like fighting gravity, like brushing your teeth with your opposite hand. Awkward and frustrating, but necessary. For Chris, the shift didn't start with a new gym membership or some viral 75-day challenge. It started with a post-it note. One yellow square. Black Sharpie. Don't waste this day. He stuck it on the bathroom mirror, not as motivation, but as a reminder he still had a say in how this year would go. So he started small. No Instagram till noon. 15 push-ups. Not perfect form, just movement. Drank a full glass of water the moment he woke up. Wrote one sentence in his journal. I am becoming someone I trust. It felt silly at first. Insignificant. But something strange happened. Each tiny promise he kept added a brick to a new identity. Not the guy who's trying to be better, but the guy who actually follows through. That was trigger point number 2. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. He didn't need a better to-do list. He needed a better relationship with himself. And so he built one micro habit at a time. Week 1. Started walking 15 minutes after work. Set screen time limits on his phone. Left his room clean every night. No more chaos. Week 2. Scheduled one real conversation. No texting. Said no to weekend plans he didn't actually enjoy. Wrote down 3 things that made him proud. By week 3, he noticed something bizarre. His mornings no longer started in reaction mode. He wasn't waking up and checking in on other people's lives before his own. He was reclaiming his space, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And for the first time in years, he didn't feel behind. He felt in control, not because his circumstances had changed, but because his standards had. Here's the part no one tells you. Change isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters, and doing it consistently, even when no one's watching. That's what builds self-respect. That's what creates momentum. That's what rewires your brain from I never follow through to I'm the kind of person who keeps promises, especially to myself. Chris didn't become a machine. He didn't chase hustle culture. He simply stopped negotiating with the old version of himself. He'd say it out loud every morning. I'm not trying to change. I already have. I'm just protecting it now. This wasn't self-help hype. This was quiet evolution. The kind where your posture changes. The kind where your voice gets more certain. The kind where your life starts to feel like it fits. And then came trigger point number 3, the moment that truly marked a turning point. His little cousin Ethan, 19, came over for dinner. Quiet kid. Smart, but lost. Scrolling all day. Sleeping till noon. He looked at Chris and said, "You've changed. I don't know what it is, but you seem grounded." Chris paused, not because of what Ethan said, but because for the first time, he believed it. He had become someone worth looking up to. Not because he had all the answers, but because he had clarity, discipline, and calm. And that's when Chris realized, you don't become powerful by achieving goals. You become powerful when you live every day like it matters, because it does. That's the real gift of change. Not perfection, not praise, but peace, knowing you're no longer betraying your own potential. He wasn't chasing a new life anymore. He was protecting the new him. It was now June 2025. 6 months into the year that was supposed to just be different, Chris found himself sitting at his favorite coffee shop, not doom scrolling, not half listening to a podcast, but writing. Not journaling, not planning. Writing a letter to himself. Dear me, the version who stayed stuck. I forgive you. You were tired. You were overwhelmed. You didn't know what you needed, but you kept going. And eventually, you remembered who you were. Thank you for not giving up. As he sealed the letter, he smiled. Not because he'd made $1 million. Not because his body was magazine perfect. But because for the first time in years, his life felt like it belonged to him. He wasn't reacting anymore. He wasn't drifting. He had ownership. Chris had become the kind of man who chose discipline over distraction, chose truth over comfort, chose alignment over attention. That's what made 2025 the greatest year of his life. Not the results, but the identity he rebuilt. From the inside out. And that's the message. You don't need another productivity hack. You don't need to go viral. You don't need 100 resolutions. What you need is a moment. Your moment. When you say, "This is the year I stop watching life happen and start building it." There will be hard days. Days when old habits pull you back. When the world feels heavy. When motivation runs dry. But here's what Chris would tell you. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You are not behind. You've just been living without a rhythm that honors who you're becoming. So stop asking the world for permission. Stop waiting for the right moment. This is the moment. 2025 isn't going to be your year. It's going to be the year you finally become you. And when December comes, you'll look back and realize it wasn't the success. It wasn't the hustle. It was the decision. The one where you stopped running from your potential and started protecting it. So here's the real challenge. Don't aim to impress people. Aim to become someone you admire. And that journey, it starts today. Right now. Make this the year you show up for yourself like never before. Make this the year you finally go all in. Make 2025 the greatest year of your life. Because no one else can do it for you.